Sup Swaggets? Boba Fett, the most popular character with only 4 lines since this dog in this video I just saw. This mysterious man from myth and legend is getting his very own anthology movie solely focused on him in 2020. Although I acknowledge the fact that Boba Fett is a bit of a useless character in the movies, I have to admit I have high hopes for this movie, provided they do it right. This movie could easily collapse under its own weight, especially if it chooses to appease fans. So although the movie won't come out for a while, this video will attempt to explain how I personally think the movie should go. I'd also like to state that, because the movie is so far off, we know absolutely nothing about the film and very little about the other anthology movies. So stylistically, I'm pretty much going to do what I want. With that said, this is going to be a different kind of Star Wars story. I'm making it a lot more gritty than the usual fanfare. I'm drawing influence from many westerns, but namely Fistful of Dollars, which drew its influence from Yojimbo. Check out both those movies, they're great. Anyway, let's get it on. The film opens with a shot of the Dune Sea. Small footprints have been made in the sand, trailing up to the top of the dune, where Boba Fett limps towards the smoke on the horizon. His jetpack has been broken and the T-visor on his helmet has been cracked. Finally, he stops at the hill overlooking Jabba's palace. The once huge and mighty building is now in flames. Looters and pirates and sand people run through the doors, fighting over bits of salvage. Boba Fett approaches the palace and is uninterrupted as he walks towards the hangar platform. Chaos reigns around Boba as he steps onto the platform and is faced by 3 large doors. He pulls the second one open and finds 3 sand people tearing pieces off his ship for Slave 1. The sand people snap their heads towards Boba Fett, who slowly lowers his hand towards his mangled blaster at his side. The sand people drop into a fighting pose, pointing their gaffer sticks at Boba. The sand people yell something inaudible and charge. Boba Fett shoots the first one down with ease, but barely manages to nail the second one. The third one smashes Boba Fett with his gaffer stick, further cracking his helmet. Boba falls to the ground and the sand person moves in for the kill. Boba shoots his hand up and out of the gauntlet on his wrist comes a stream of flames. The fire takes hold of the raider immediately, and the creature runs around the hangar yelling weird noises. Boba stands to his feet and puts the raider down with a shot to the head. Boba then climbs inside his ship and starts to poke around the console. He tries powering up the ship, but that doesn't work. He goes to the back of the ship and sees that the engine has completely been ripped apart by the sand people. He retreats back inside the ship and returns with small circular discs and a hovering box. He places the discs around the ship's circumference and presses a button on the gauntlet, and a red laser shield shoots up around the ship. He then unfolds the box into a small speeder bike. He jumps on the bike and turns the handles and shoots out of the garage and off across the sand. As he flies further away from the palace, he undoes his broken jetpack and chucks it behind him into the sand. The camera pans down to the jetpack as the title fades in. Boba Fett arrives at a small town in the middle of nowhere. 2 large buildings are positioned on either side of the street. Boba Fett gets off his bike and leads it through the quiet dirt road. Creatures watch from their houses as he wanders towards the building with the sign saying Jahavi Inn. As he approaches the Jahavi Inn, Boba notices 3 men following him. Boba stops in his place and turns around. The 3 men surround Boba.
Is there something you want, friend?
The leader of the group, a Devosian, smiles nastily.
These streets are owned by the Doma's filth. And unless you're heading to the Doma Palace for business, you'll have to pay up. The fee shifts depending on our mood.
Boba stares at the man quietly.
Now you're new here, so we're gonna let you off easy. Let's say you give us that hoverbox and we'll let you walk the streets freely.
Slowly, Boba lowers his hand to his blaster.
You dare!
Boba pulls the blaster and the man lunges forward. Slapping the blaster out of his hands, the man grabs Boba by the neck and hoists him into the air. The 2 men grab the hoverbox as Boba claws at his neck.
Now what do you think we should do with this scum?
The deviant grins, but his grin slowly fades. The camera pans down to show 2 curved sword-like spikes extending from Boba's gauntlet and nudge softly into the deviant's stomach.
Let go.
The deviant looks a little shell-shocked, but recovers by chucking Boba Fett to the side. The 3 men walk off of the hoverbox, and Boba Fett picks up his blaster as they leave. Okay, so that's the end of part 1 of my Boba Fett, what it should be. I plan to get one of these out every week, so you have to wait till next week to find out what happens. In the meantime, check out these other videos, spam the comments, and subscribe if you want. Okay, see ya, Swaggets.